Ladies and washaroom. Cool trick on how to process some HDRIs for some accurate reflection. Damn. That's how you spell polyamor. Damn. Would be much more easier to show this on like an interior. So it still works for like exteriors, but this is gonna make sense for the interior more. At least it's gonna be much more easier to show. Damn, that was fast. So here's the trick, okay? Add a plane, normal plane. Just gonna go to shading, and then Control T, add the image, the HDRI, okay? So let's look at that, but I'm just gonna turn off light tree real quick because that thing is just, I think it just makes everything slow here. What we do is we basically do a spherical projection. This is an old trick that people used to do. So what you do is you add a sphere and an empty sphere. So there's just an empty, and then you use the texture coordinates of the empty sphere. So what would happen is you'd see a tile, because doing a flat projection, just change that to sphere. Notice how it's projected flat, right? Okay. So you can just rotate this. This does not matter. It's using the texture coordinates of the sphere. I mean, the z-axis would definitely matter, but we'll get into that. So what I like to do first is, if I'm shooting this on set, I'll definitely have like some color checker or like some sort of object there to get me the relative size of the things. But I'll just assume that this is 20 centimeters, because that's like what mostly they are. Just gonna type in 20 centimeters. And then we're just gonna look for an edge. Okay. I'm using Shift Z to lock it only on the Z-axis so that that does not change. Okay, so we found an edge, right? And then we're just gonna align the edge right here. You don't have to be like super precise, does not matter. Do not let your OCD win. Do not let it win. It's futile trying to be as precise as you can. That's just some Hollywood gimmicks, man. And then you can just scale this until it just matches. And then once you have that, you just keep on extruding. This just makes things much more easier to navigate, especially if your assets are to scale, if you're working with photogrammetry, stuff like that. So what you need to do is just hit the walls, okay? Hit the walls. See this? Wall. Okay, click this, double G, type C to extend it. No wall. No wall, no go. Wall, you just hit it. And then do the same thing, that's a wall. Do the same thing, that's a wall. So this is a floor, okay? And then here's where the beauty comes in. Boom, look at that. Look at that. I'm just gonna delete these faces so that we can see this. Bruh, deal with this, man. Thank you. And then instead of principle, we just work with a mission to make things much more simpler. And then yes, see this? This is cool, this is fast. And then just kind of fill in the top faces. Spherical projection. Basic projection. So it's pretty forgiving. You can clearly see it distort, so you cannot like F this up. So you just basically have the HDRI all over again. That's how like Greg recorded this. If Greg was the one that was it? No, it's I'm not gonna attempt that. I'm gonna butcher that. People are not gonna like that. Another trick that I like doing is I cut out just the parts that emit light, because it just makes sense. Since at every point of this sphere, or this mesh, I guess, every point is acting like as an emission, kinda screws up the the ray tracing. It's not gonna be realistic. I mean, it will, technically it can, given enough dynamic range, but then it just does not look good, man. I just prefer this, and I stand by it. You can have fancy materials here, trying to, you know, just separate these guys. You could just use a color attribute, but I'm just gonna call those walls. And I'm gonna call the rest the emission. And I'm gonna copy the material and then paste it here. And the walls is no longer gonna be emission, it's gonna be principled. And then we're gonna connect the diffuse. And then this. Okay, wait. So let's just assign this for now. Then let's invert that. And then assign the walls. So we have this now. Okay? If you shoot this on set, I repeat, if you're shooting this on set, what would happen is, wait a minute, no, that does not work on now. Does even backface color work on here? Man. Okay, I'm gonna recalculate the normal, so I'm gonna enable the backface culling. If you shoot this on set, okay, you need to invert this by the x-axis on -1. Okay, I just did that now, but that does not matter because it's just how the projection works in Blender. And then like everything would align, you know, things would not be inverted. Like if you had like something that's not supposed to be inverted, it's going to be inverted. That's what's going to happen. And then you just go to the emissions and see how most of that light is coming from the emissions, and then the rest is just diffuse. Kind of makes sense. Looks good. What's the use of this? Sometimes you might have a complex scene. I just downloaded this just straight off. Like I didn't prepare this or something. Sometimes you might just have some really complex scenes. So what the? Okay, nice, real nice, real nice, man. I promise you, it's not because of Blender, or it's not because of this technique. Might be the backface culling. Never trust the backface culling, man. I'm just gonna add a camera, and then we're just gonna look at this, okay? Gonna enable pass part out. If you have complex scenes, what would make it much more simpler is if you have the focal length of the camera that was used to shoot the HDRI with. So they just usually shoot with like 8mm to 10mm. You don't need it to be exact. And then if you also have the position, it's just it's going to be at the center. It's not going to be that deep, man. If I'm on set, I do like to have a little bit of precision. This looks like it's been shot on 10. I do love a little bit of precision, so I just usually have the height and then I just set it up and then lock it. But apart from that, I told you it's just Hollywood gimmicks that have the amount of precision, unless you're working with photogrammetry, and then unless you're tracking the scene and then matching the photogrammetry, at what point you need to use some software like 3D Equalizer or like PF Track, and I'd be really good at that. So if you're not doing that, the precision does not make sense. It's just your OCD. Fight it. Combat the OCD. So what is the beauty of this? Boom. That's a cube. Look at that. That's perfect lighting. You see this? This is great. This is great CGI. This is great visual effects. I am on the laptop, so I have to add this manually. And then we're just gonna call this guy gloss with one S to annoy the people. And then enable metallic and then reduce the roughness. You get perfect reflections. Perfect reflections. And then you can move around it, stuff like that. Pretty old technique, been around for ages, but just felt like it'd be cool sharing it with the Blender people. Works like a charm every time. If you're working in like an outdoor scene, what I would recommend would be like something like a dome or something like that. So just spawn a UV sphere. People have been doing this for ages. They just do this, and then they just do the same thing I just showed you guys, but then have like a spherical projection. Use this to control it. have this set to the size of the horizon. This would definitely make a difference, because what you do is you go to like horizon and distance calculator. Ah, damn, my Google search has been exposed. So observation height, that's the height of like the HDRI that you shot at, or at least, you know, just call it sea level. So if you shot at like 2 meters high, you just click on calculate distance. That's where the horizon's at, 5.1 kilometers. So this line, okay, you get me? If you set this to 2 meters, okay, so look at the camera, this line should be 5.1 kilometers away. So don't mess that up. Pretty easy, pretty easy. So I'm just gonna copy location, and then why is this okay? And then boom, and then you just set this line for 5 point some kilometers, 5.1 kilometers, and then the Z is kind of also smoked, but you get the point. You get the point. So this would kind of make more sense. Obviously, this, since we let's just set this to 10 kilometers, and then the Z, we're just gonna increase this guy. So try to okay. So anyway, try to, you know, just use your intuition, man. Use your intuition. You can, I guess it's kind of the scale that I set at first, but then you could just work with like just a normal sphere, and then just a straight like cut right between, and then you could just bevel it right around the edges. Works like a charm. Sometimes you might have objects occluding lights. I've had that on sets. The way that I evaded that was, did I destroy everything while trying to show you guys how to do for the outdoors? Damn. Okay. So when you have stuff occluding, what you do is you project the HDRI just the same way that I did, but then let's say you have like a light, like right here, like right at the center. So I think I have actually 360 view of this, right? Where is it? You know. So let's just see it real quick. Load. It's taking time. My beautiful country has blessed us with a permanent hindrance of internet by making it only accessible through VPNs. In fact, they're selling VPN services. Beautiful country, man. Anyway, this is taking more time than I imagined. But if you have lights right at the center, okay? If you try to project it the same way that I told you, this whole wall is going to be a light. Like, it's just going to project the whole thing. That's why, like I said, each point being an emission, it's kind of not going to make sense, because HDRIs, every point is coming from an infinite direction, and then that kind of like messes the way that shadows are calculated, technically speaking, unless your CG object is exactly where the HDRI has been taken, and even then, depending on the size of the object, it's going to look weird. So what I would do is extrude it from here, okay? It's really forgiving. Do not like think of it that deep. If it's like an aperture light, and then the base is like a C stand, and then you try to like reproject the C stand, that's just kind of useless, man. Just don't go that deep. It's useless. There's no point. What you could just do is like a cube, a whole ass cube. Just spawn the cube, and then try to get the edges perfect just for the light, so that you can get the dimensions. I would just model the circle really well, at least kind of roughly, and then you paint out the background. Okay, when you turn around, you paint out the background. I wish I could show you guys that. You know what? I don't mind a longer video, man. Just trying to make a short video out of mine. Okay. There is no HDRI. Obviously, they're not going to put it on HDRI Heaven. Poly Heaven now. I'm sorry. If somebody's occluding it. But the point is, I'll reaffirm the point. Wait. Let's try to recover the recovery. Boom. Nice. So my point was, let's say you had a C-stand here, right? So what you do is you just find it, okay? Just find it. And then boom. You see, now it's distorted because obviously the walls does not make sense. If there was like an object here, the projection would definitely make sense. You would not distort like this. And then what you would notice is that whatever is here, like if there was a light here, it's going to be here. It's literally going to be here, like this whole thing. So what I do is, one, this is very, very unstable, because if someone touches this down the line, trust me, it's going to happen. I would guarantee you that. You're going to move this guy, and then you see like everything's just going to mess up, lighting's going to change, all that. And then if this changes, if you do any of this, it's like there's just way too much stuff going on here that could mess this up. So what I would do is I would create an image texture, okay? And then you just click on new, and then baked maps, and then set this to 4K. If you're working on some reflective objects, definitely set the resolution high enough, because you know resolutions matter for reflections. But if there are no reflective objects, you could just get away with 2K or something like that. And then, you know, beautiful software, for some reason gotta set this, gotta set the render resolution, just baking, and then set this to emission, and then I'm just gonna view that. It doesn't matter with the diffuse stuff, because at the end of the day we just want the baked stuff. And then what we're gonna do is yeah, we can actually bake it first and then do what we just did. So just select this map, select it, make sure you view this directly, treat it like an emission, but just to be safe, add an emission, and then select that, go to bake type, emission, bake. Awesome stuff. Wait, you need to UV this. My bad, you need to UV this. So usually I'll just go with a light map pack just to get just a light map, but since we're gonna be painting out stuff, you could just do a smart UV project. I mean, you could project it, you could like create seams and stuff like that, you could give the optimal space for the wall that you're trying to project, but that does not matter. That does not matter at the end of the day. You know, I mean, okay, that definitely matters. If you have some sort of packing software, definitely pack this. That's just horrible UVs, man. But this is a concept. There's a concept view. Do your professionalism on your own. I'm not gonna do professional stuff for a tutorial, man. It's not even a tutorial at this point. It's just me ranting about projections. Now it's baking. Really awesome. Really awesome. Wow, this is so fast, guys. You guys have no idea how fast this is for like Blender. This is insanely fast, guys. Wow, 100%. What's the catch? Is it like all black? Just give it to me, man. Tell me. Okay, that is the catch then. That was a lie. That was a scam. That was not 100%. So anyway, at the end of this, what will happen is all of your projection is just going to be baked. So you can't make any more edits, but it's not like you have to. Once you have all the projections right, once you have all your scale right, you set it, it's going to be awesome. This is just a cheat. This is just a hack, especially if you're working for like still images. And then if you're working for, it can work for videos, but I prefer just scanning the set, or get this, instead of see, that's just baked now. That's the floor. That's awesome. What is that? That's the roof. Oh no, the walls are like, they have the worst UV space. They have the worst UV space out of them all. Jesus. Oh, this is gonna be bad. Ooh, yeah, that is bad. That's like really bad. But doesn't matter. Doesn't matter for this. Like, floor is great, absolutely fantastic. Walls bad. Roof is absolutely fantastic. UV this properly. Do not like smart UV project this and then ditch it. That's just bad. See, you get fired if you pull some shit like this. So what I'm saying is, you know, at the end of the day, you could just paint this. So you just put this in Photoshop. Okay, you could definitely not put this UV in Photoshop. But imagine if we wanted to paint some stuff in the floor, given that we've UV projected this right. Do not UV this, please. I beg you, do not like try to be fancy with this. No, just stop. Just use this guy. See all this. There's a great add-on out there, UV Pack Master. Definitely would just allow you to pack selected faces on an area. Just even packing this would have definitely resulted in a good optimal UV space. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to show you guys how to do this. Once you got this baked, all this does not matter. We can go back to the walls emission stuff, and then just set this on emission, and then set this on principled, and then copy this guy, delete this, paste this, and then, oh damn, I do not know where the walls are at now. Okay, let's just view this, and then I'm just gonna select these two and this guy as well. Make this emissions, the walls we just see, and the emissions we control. So definitely lost some dynamic range, I guess, on the baking, but that is definitely something you can recover. I think I baked it on a sRGB, and then probably when I created the image, I didn't click the 2-bit float. That's why. Click this. I see why tutorials are so bad right now. People just miss stuff. But I'll try to edit this. But anyway, so that's that. The painting thing, as I said, if you have like a light object right here, just, you know, in your scene, and then it bleeds out way in the back, you just paint this, make this the wall, because there's just going to be a huge light around here casting stuff to here. And then if your CG object, let's say, is placed around here, then the lights are going to hit this, but like realistically this light would never have touched this, and then, you know, it's going to kind of help you out just in general. That's about that. I'm going to end this video on that, and cheers.